Everyone loves what if Pokemon stories and fan-made Pokemon, but have you ever wondered what Pokemon would look like if they were based off of Dragon Ball characters? I'm talking Goku, Vegeta, and even Frieza. Well, thanks to this amazing artist, thepanio, we'll be taking a look at Pokemon that are inspired by the heroes of the Dragon Ball franchise. These designs are some of his older work, but trust me fam, these are still absolute fire. So do yourselves a favor and check out his newer stuff. Trust me, you won't be disappointed. His links will be in the pinned comments down below, so tap that like button, get cozy, and let's jump in with our first wonderful Pokemon, and this one is actually going to be one of the regional starters for this video. You see, this is a brand new region that consists of Dragon Ball based Pokemon, and well, every new region needs their starters, am I right? So let's start things off with this little guy, Kakarot, the fighting type willpower Pokemon, based on Son Goku himself. This little guy isn't just adorable, he's got fighting spirit too. His stats are pretty well rounded, and Kakarot here has got himself the ability Vital Spirit and the hidden ability Guts. But what makes Kakarot sought after is their willingness to battle and grow. You see, they hardly shy away from a battle, which is why they are one of the more easier starters to train for new trainers. It also learns moves like Mach Punch and Branch Poke, but don't let that fool you, because once Kakarot here reaches level 16, well then, he evolves into Blazoku, a fighting fire type willpower Pokemon. And would you take a look at that shiny? I, for one, love how it's influenced by Goku's God mode. Man, that is so awesome. But now it looks like our starter pal has adopted the fire typing. Along with that, their base stats seem to imply that they're going to be more of a mixed attacker. And they've got some killer moves like Blaze Kick and Fire Punch, so definitely watch out for this guy. But once you get your Blazoku leveled up to level 36 and with high friendship, well then you get the final stage of this amazing Pokemon line, and that's Solar Kame, the fighting fire type willpower Pokemon based on Super Saiyan Goku himself. Oh yeah, and that shiny is based off of Super Saiyan God Blue, which again is such a cool nod to the original series in my opinion. But that's not all. This is where things start to get really spicy for our starter, because now Solar Kame has a different ability in being solar power to help boost its special attack during sunlight at the cost of its own HP. All in all, this is a terrific final stage for a well-rounded starter. But what if I told you guys it doesn't stop here? Apparently, this new region has something similar to Dragon Balls, and well, a certain somebody may have made a wish for a certain battle gimmick to return. And because of that, our starter Solar Kame gets a brand new Mega Evolution, introducing Mega Solar Kame X, the fighting dragon type willpower Pokemon based on Super Saiyan 4 Son Goku. Now, I'm gonna be honest, if I was going up against this Pokemon, I'd probably soil myself, because not only is it intimidating like the ability says, but holy crap, would you look at those stats? I mean, there is no shot that any Pokemon other than another Mega Pokemon would be able to go toe for toe with this legendary creation. And you know what? I think that's kind of the point, because you see, these Pokemon are all about combat and are always seeking for a challenging adversary who can push them past their limits. But speaking of limits, you didn't think we would just stop with one Mega Evolution, did you? Nah. Here's Mega Solar Kame Y, the fighting psychic type willpower Pokemon based on Goku's Ultra Instinct form. Cue the music. Mega Solar Kame Y gets the new ability Adaptability that makes it hit insanely hard. That, along with moves like Psychic Close Combat and Vacuum Wave, make this Pokemon a deadly adversary. But what do you guys think? Are you picking up Kakarot as your starter? But wait, there are still two other Pokemon starters. And next up is probably my favorite, and that's Veggitot, the fighting type pride Pokemon based on the Prince of all Saiyans himself, Prince Vegeta. First off, I gotta give kudos to that circular red patch around its eyes. It's literally the Red Scouter from the Saiyan Saga, and I love that for the little guy. Next up is Veggitot's ability being Battle Armor, because well, you know, a Saiyan ain't a Saiyan without his Saiyan armor. You know what I'm saying? But also, it's said that these Pokemon are so prideful that it sometimes hinders them. But because of that pride, they are some of the hardest working Pokemon new trainers can ever come across. Its stats also seem to suggest that this line is going to be more specially invested. But once you get your Vegetot to level 16, well then, you get yourself a Vegimist, the fighting water type pride Pokemon. And again, I am a huge fan of these Easter eggs within the shiny forms because that's pretty much Vegeta's armor when Nappa and him landed on that insectoid planet that they later blew up. But anyway, this Pokemon adopts the new water typing along with moves like Scald, Aqua Jet, and even Water Pulse. All in all, this Pokemon is definitely a strong partner. However, unlike its fellow Blazoku, Vegimist evolves at a much later stage. Once you reach level 38, then your Vegimist evolves into Vegetide, the fighting water type pride Pokemon. The name for this Pokemon is a mix of Vegeta and Tide and, well, Pride as well, which I think works terrifically. And their shiny is a Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta, which is one of my absolute favorites. It also picked up the new ability Moxie, which could mean trouble if any of the opposing foes leave Vegetide here unchecked. The moves in their arsenal vary and give this Pokemon a huge bag of coverage. Moves like Dragon Pulse, Dark Pulse, and even Terrain Pulse. There's definitely a theme here. But now it's time to show you guys this amazing Pokemon's 2 Mega Evolution forms. First up is the Mega Vegetide X, the fighting Dragon-type pride Pokemon, and 10 points for anyone in the comments who knows what this shiny's based on. This could be a tough one, but only the true DBZ and GT fans will get this one right. But this Pokemon is a nice counterpart to the Mega Solar Kame X, in that it can rival its own power and dominance and give each other a thrilling competitive battle that they both yearn for. And next up, we have the Mega Vegetide Y, the fighting Dark-type pride Pokemon with a scary ability known as Shadow Tag. Couple that with the fact that this Pokemon can outspeed almost every single Pokemon in existence? Yeah, that makes this a deadly combination, which is why I totally would rather have this Pokemon on my side than go up against it. But what do you guys think? That's only 2 of the starters for this DBZ-based region, and there's still one more little guy, and man oh man is this starter such a crybaby. Introducing Sproutly, the fighting-type timid Pokemon based on the legendary Super Saiyan himself, Broly, but his powered-down crybaby version self, not the one on roids. Sproutly's abilities are Rattled and Anger Point, which, let's be honest, makes total sense. As for new trainers, this starter Pokemon requires a ton of guidance, help, and patience. And honestly, hugs and kisses. But not to worry, because if you're a trainer with patience, you may just get rewarded in the long run. Their stats also suggest that this little guy is going to be very physically dominant. But once you get them to level 16, well then it evolves into Fernfist, the fighting grass-type timid Pokemon. Although not as frightened as before, this Pokemon is still definitely timid and shies away from too much combat. It does learn some moves like Magical Leaf and Grass Knot, even though it has an insane physically attacking stat, but there's a reason for that, and that's because Fernfist would rather attack from a distance than get up close and personal. But not to worry, because that all changes once you evolve this poor little guy into their final evolution at the early ripe level of 32. Introducing Primoly, the fighting grass-type Berserk Pokemon based on Broly's Berserk mode. I, for one, love how this Pokemon's shiny kinda represents the legendary Super Saiyan of Universe 6, Kale. But this Pokemon gets their Rattled ability replaced with Berserk, which again, let's be honest, makes total sense. And finally picks up some solid moves like Wood Hammer, Dire Claw, Close Combat, and even Outrage. I told you, patience would definitely pay off with this Pokemon, because now you have physically dominant moves with a whopping 150 base attack stat, which is definitely a good reward. Not for me because I have no patience, but for someone else out there. But now let's check out Primoly's Mega Evolution, starting with Mega Primoly X, the fighting Dragon-type Berserk Pokemon, who can fit in quite nicely with the other two. This form has more special defense and increased speed, making it a very fast-hitting Pokemon. But I wonder which one of the 3 Mega X evolutions would win in an all-out brawl. Let me know your answers in the comments. But regardless of who wins that matchup, we've got our final final Mega Evolution for the starters, and that's Mega Primoli Y, the fighting poison type Berserk Pokemon with the ability Corrosion and a stat pool that makes it viable in any competitive situation. This Pokemon absolutely cooks, albeit a little sludgy on the outside, but nonetheless gets the job done. But what do you guys think? Which one of these 3 starters are you picking up for this region? But I had a blast making this video. And you know what? If this video gets 600 likes, then I'll be right back with a part 2 for this series, introducing some very villainous DBZ characters turned into Pokemon. But that's a wrap. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and be sure to check out my other videos on the channel. Trust me, you won't be disappointed. Thanks for watching. Check out this video next, and see you soon. Bye.